Hi, welcome to my 2020 Xmas Prezi video. Now, I should say straight away that Christmas is not my thing. I'm not religious, I don't have kids and I don't drink. And in the UK, there's my finger again. In the UK, Christmas, everyone gets pissed up, eats a hell of a lot, collapses and then repeats again for New Year's Eve. And, you know, there's nothing about that agenda that in any way affects me. And what I like to do at Christmas is basically just keep my head down, keep out the way, let everyone get on with it. Because I have the attitude that everyone should be allowed to do what they want. That's absolutely fine by me. No skin off my nose, but really it doesn't affect me at all. I'm not being a Grinch, and I wish everyone a very happy Christmas and celebrate it in any way that you wish. But what I want to do in this video is go over some of the tech that I've bought over the year that you might be considering for Christmas presents, and, you know, let you have the benefit, or whatever the opposite of the benefit is, of my opinions on some of the stuff that I've bought this year. Quite a lot of it during lockdown, it has to be said, when there wasn't much else to do apart from browse Banggood and what have you. So, first thing I want to talk about is these AirPods. Now, these were an absolute revelation to me, because I'm old enough to remember walking around with the Walkman, you know, which was a box that you strapped to your belt and then you had to have a wired headphone set attached to it. And I'd completely forgotten how much I enjoyed walking around listening to music. And what happened was I was browsing Banggood during lockdown and I found some AirPod knockoffs for £3. So, you know, what's to lose? I sent off for them. And although they were totally crap quality, they were very quiet, I dropped one which immediately smashed in half. It just brought back the whole thing to me, you know, just how much I enjoyed it. And eventually, by way of another knockoff pair, which I bought for 40 quid off eBay, which were advertised as Apple refurbished, the day after I bought them, I got an email from the vendor saying, you know, eBay have removed the listing, don't worry. They were in fact knockoffs, and I've done a video about that on my YouTube channel, which you can go and check out if you like. It never occurred to me that if Apple was selling refurbished AirPods, which I don't think they do, they might, they wouldn't be charging 40 quid for them. It's Apple, you know, they'd be charging 160, 150 quid for them rather than 199, which is what they're listed for on the Apple site. And as with all peripherals at Apple, you'd be very, very foolish not to check Amazon and eBay, because when I checked Amazon just before making this video, there's a pair of brand new AirPods 2, which these are. This is a silicone case. The case is actually white. For 129, which is 70 quid less than what Apple charges you direct. So it's always worth doing. And while we're on that subject, Apple if you're thinking of buying a Mac or an iPad, it is well worth checking the Apple refurbished store on the Apple website, because what you get there is Apple products that have been physically checked by an Apple engineer, repaired if they need it, and then sent out with a year's guarantee, just like the regular new ones, with savings at the high end of several £100s on the equipment. And modern production processes being what they are, very few are actually physically checked by technicians, by quality control in the factory, because the manufacturing processes have become so efficient now that there's absolutely no need. You know, they might pull 1 out of 100 off the line to check it, to make sure that the processes are still working. And what you get is arguably, from the refurbished store, arguably better than one that's come straight from the factory, because it's been physically checked, because it's guaranteed by Apple. It's arguably a better machine, really, you know, with the guarantee. So what's not to love? And these things, I use them for walking around with music, which I absolutely adore doing, walking down by the river, going shopping. I can watch YouTube vids in the garden without any distraction, podcasts, what have you. Absolute revelation to me, not a revelation, but just remembering how much I enjoyed doing all that. And I absolutely love these. And I don't know, if you're from my generation, check them out. I did have a slight problem with how I looked. I felt very self-conscious wearing them, walking around the streets. Or not nearly as self-conscious as I felt walking around with the gimbal and the iPhone on it. But still very, very self-conscious, you know, like I'm not a tattoo guy or an earring guy or anything like that. And these look a bit like earrings, but to be honest, I enjoy it so much that I just don't give a shit, you know, like people can think what the hell they like. I don't care. I love them. Okay, the next thing that I bought that I wanted to talk about is this. This is an Android phone. It is an Umidigi A7 Pro. Again, there's a video on my website, on my YouTube channel, which you can check out about it. And it cost 85 quid. I bought it from Banggood. And again, a bit of a revelation to me, because my last Android phone was a Motorola something or other, which is 4 years old, which had basically just ground to a halt and was fundamentally unusable. This, for 85 quid, you get this beautiful clear screen. You get, what I use it for, the reason I bought it is to check web pages that I've created, because part of my production process is creating web pages, uploading them to my approval server, checking them on all these browsers that I've got on the phone. And then when I'm happy, you know, I contact the client and say, hey, go and have a look, see what you think. And I can be more or less sure that it's going to display correctly on whatever device they're using. iOS is different. Like iOS browsers are actually reskins of Safari because Apple won't allow anything else. But on Android, you of course get people using different bases like WebKit for their browsers. And so I've got a variety here that I use to check web pages. I also use this for watching YouTube vids when, you know, the iPhone's charging or something like that, or when I'm eating. And it's faultless. It stutters a bit. I mean, it hasn't got the world's fastest processor in. And I don't use it as a daily driver, like my iPhone is my daily driver. So if you buy, this is a budget phone, obviously, it might not be quite as satisfactory as a daily driver, but I've got no complaints for what I bought it for and for what I use it for. It has been great, and I think 85 quid, considering I can see it lasting for 2 or 3 years, was money well spent. Umidigi also do mid-range phones and higher-end phones, sort of 150 quid and stuff like that, that also get extremely good write-ups on YouTube. Do you get write-ups on YouTube? Whatever. Because they just give you so much bang for the buck. And another huge attraction of this is that it's stock Android 10. So it's stock Android, which if you've ever owned a Samsung, something like that, which I had, I got just completely fed up with all the crap that Samsung, you know, layered on top, and all these sort of little sub-programs and what have you that I never ever used, and just a waste of space. Stock Android 10, beautiful big screen, well capable of watching YouTube vids and what have you. Love it. And the principal justification for it will work, which of course is tax deductible. Brilliant. Highly recommended that. When I say recommended, I mean it works for me. As I say, if you use it as a daily driver, your experience might well be different, but for me, it's worked out great. Okay, and the next thing I want to talk about is I bought an iPad Air 4 just recently, actually, a couple of months ago, I think. And this thing is brilliant. I'll just hang on a sec. I'll just feed in the. This thing, I absolutely love it, and it makes a big break for me from using iPads just purely for consumer purposes. The first iPad I bought was an iPad 2, following my maxim of never buying anything first generation Apple. And I now use it with, it's just brilliant. I mean, they've knocked it out of the park with this one. It's super quick. I can run on it the software that I want to talk about, which is the Affinity suite of programs, Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer. And I can use it with other Apple peripherals like the Apple Pencil. And I just want to show you that here. Here's Affinity Photo. Here's a file that I took. Here's a picture that I took in, hang on a sec, I better just check the Bluetooth on. Ah, it was off, see. Right, just connect the pencil by sticking it on the side there. There's a YouTube video on my channel again about how I created this. It was a photo of Tewkesbury in bright sunshine, and I've changed it into a lightning thing. And you can use it to, I don't know, I mean, if I wanted to add mist to this, oops, wrong brush. Let's try. Let's try watercolors, diluted granular, smooth round. If I wanted to add fog to this, for instance, in this Affinity Photo program, we could easily do it with this. It's the Apple Pencil, obviously, and you can just add fog like that. See, I must admit, I love it. The combination of the Apple Pencil, Affinity Photo, the iPad Air 4, absolute killer for me, for the things that I use. I love this program, and it was such a pleasure. Like, the important thing is about the Affinity suite of programs, which on the desktop includes Photo, which is a Photoshop alternative, Designer, which is an Illustrator alternative, and Publisher, which is an InDesign alternative. All of them are brilliant. I absolutely love all of them. I'm particularly fond of the iPad version of Photo, as we see here, because, as I say, it means that I can actually use the iPad for creating stuff. I can use the Apple Pencil to draw organically on anything I create, and it's just a perfect combination for me. I mean, I'm more than happy with the iPad Air 4. I'm more than happy with the Affinity software. And another huge advantage, of course, is that, and the reason I was looking for an alternative, was that it's not subscription based. You pay a one-off fee. And for a one-man band like me, using, you know, Adobe now have a subscription model, which was very, very onerous and expensive. And this is a one-off fee. So I got it actually during the first lockdown. They were actually doing a half-price sale, so it made it even better. I paid something like 25 quid for it. And it is easily powerful enough to be a Photoshop substitute. Photoshop's like Word, you know, like 90% of the people don't use 90% of the features. They don't even know they exist, you know, and it's, for a lot of people, it's a total waste of money when this alternative is available. And as I say, you get desktop equivalents. You don't get a desktop equivalent of Publisher on the iPad, just Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. Affinity Designer, although I haven't dived into it, I actually knew Illustrator better than any of all the other Adobe programs, because I used to use it when I worked at the printers, and the only way that I could keep up with the pressure of work was to learn all the key commands. So Illustrator became just second nature to me. And to the extent that I've dived into Designer, it's absolutely fine. But of course, the most fun is to be done with Photo here. I love the Affinity suite. I love my Apple Pencil. But having said that, there is an alternative to the Apple Pencil, which I'm going to show you now. So I'm just going to close this, turn off Bluetooth, because they do sort of clash, get back into Photo. And here we have the Logitech Crayon, which is half the price of the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil on the Apple Store is 119 quid. Right, again, check Amazon and eBay, because quite often you get perfectly new ones for good savings. I didn't find fantastic savings on it, but I found some that were, you know, 10 quid off, 15 quid off, and the price on the Apple Store is 119 quid. You know, 10 quid is 10 quid, why not save it? Right, and the Logitech Crayon is itself half the price of the Apple Pencil. Now, it doesn't use Bluetooth, so you can't get a battery reading off it, which is a bit of a shame. But it works just as well as the Apple Pencil. And to me, in the hand, this was 65 quid, it feels more natural to use. The Apple Pencil feels a bit spindly. It feels almost as if it's longer than it should be and a bit spindly. This fits in the hand a lot better. Is it actually working? Yeah, it's working fine. So I had a few problems. If you don't, you have to disconnect. Look at that fog. Isn't that brilliant? You also get, it works fine with things like Scribble. Right, my handwriting is appalling from 30 years of using word processors, but there you go, it's picked it up straight away. And it uses Scribble, you can paint with it. It's 65 quid. What it doesn't use is Bluetooth, so you can't get a battery reading off it, so you have to be vaguely aware of how much battery is charged in it. But it also feels more natural to me, to be quite honest. Yeah, I don't know whether to sell one of those or not, I might. But yeah, highly recommended. So that's it, just a quick, if anyone's thinking of buying Christmas prezzies, these are the things that have really impressed me in 2020. The iPad Air 4, by the way, was it 580 quid? But for my 5th generation iPad that I was using before, I got 150 quid cash. Right, now that is the equivalent of what, 175, 180 quid on eBay, which is ballpark what they're going for on eBay, without having to go through the hassle of dealing with the weirdos on eBay and, you know, posting it and all that crap. I got 150 quid for it cash locally. So it brought the cost of this one down to just over 400 quid, which isn't vastly more than, you know, a new low-end one. Before I was just using them to consume stuff, so I was just using the low-end ones. This is a step up in every possible way. The new A14 processor is hyper powerful, and it's a lovely machine. I absolutely love it. Oh, here's another bit of software that is quite interesting actually. What 3 words here? Now this is, the whole of the globe is divided into 10 centimetre grid. There's a 10 centimetre grid over the whole globe. Blah. And if you look here, like this is just next door, this is my house here. And in fact, this is the 10 metre square that I am sat in. And that translates into 3 words: pass, spearing, vowing. Here is my kitchen. And that is exactly where I am now. So if you've looked at my Instagram posts or some of my YouTube posts, they always include this now. And that's what this is. This is this What 3 words? Very interesting little program. And you can pinpoint exactly where you are anywhere on the globe. I haven't tried it in Antarctica yet because I'm not actually in Antarctica at the moment, nor do I have any plans to go, I assure you. But yeah, that's an interesting little bit of software I picked up. Free, it's free. Here's Designer, which of course you use for illustrations, and I've been messing around with it. These are just trial things that I've done. It doesn't mean anything or anything like that. It just is the Illustrator substitute. And I think that's all I've got to say, really. In case anyone's thinking of buying Christmas presents, all of those things that I've just shown you, they're great. This is the best year for tech I've had for a long time. And what can I say? Here's another thing. I didn't realise you could actually install fonts on the iPad. And here's a list of all the fonts installed on this iPad. And you can go to a website called dafont.com, D-A-F-O-N-T, and download free fonts and install them on the iPad. I never realised that was possible, but you can. So that's it. That's a quick roundup of the software and hardware that has impressed me this year. I've also upped my charging game. There are much more powerful and quicker chargers available from when I last bought them, sort of 3-4 years ago. And sort of 30-watt one I've got now, which charges things. It charges this super quick, fantastic. Anker, A-N-K-E-R, is a good company to go to for things like cables and chargers and what have you, that always produce good stuff. A lot of them Apple certified. That's it. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very happy Christmas, even if you're planning on getting wasted, which as far as I can see the majority of the UK population does. And New Year too, Happy New Year, Happy Christmas, and all the best wishes in the world to everyone. Thanks very much indeed for watching.